Yo, what is going on today, guys? So I'm over here back on some Pokemon Pocket, and I'm basically going to be going over the top 10 decks in the game, and then some others as well outside of the top 10. So basically on my list, I have top tier, which are going to be like the best decks in the game, high tier, which are decks that are really good, they're just not at the power level of the top decks. Then I have Rogue, which are basically good decks, but they either lack consistency or they're just not as good as the tier above. They're not like good tech options. For example, let me just put it right away. Greninja is more of a tech option than a deck built around itself. So yeah, like that would have like also like Koga, for example, like Wheezing. But then I have not sure decks. I just personally don't really know how good they are. And then at the bottom, like for fun decks, obviously the decks aren't that good. But if you like the Pokemon played, at the end of the day, you having fun is all that matters. So yeah, let's get to the video. So that's tier list, yeah. So honestly, very easy. Best deck in the game is Pikachu EX. And I'm gonna put Zapdos right next to him because they're usually partnered together anyways. Yeah, I mean, not much to say. Pikachu is the best deck. Pikachu EX being a basic Pokemon, and it is really easy to basically enable him to do 90 damage. And 2 energy, 90 damage. I mean, there's not much to say. Almost everything in the Pikachu deck is a 1 or 2 cost, so easy X speed, or even if you have Electrode, easy way to get Pikachu in after you finally have him built up. And then you just start nuking everything your opponent has. Especially if you're playing Pikachu and then you're playing against an evolution deck, it is very easy to just build Pikachu up and then start nuking them before they can get their either energy or their evolution lines fully built. So I mean, there's really not much to say. Everybody knows how good Pikachu is, running rampant in tournaments and stuff. And even if I look here on this thing, this is really what I'm using for the most part. Why is it not here? Here it is. Dex and tier list. Even it shows on this Pikachu is like the number 1 play. Then if you go over here, there's like some tournament results. You actually see a Mewtwo at the top, but it's because Pikachu is like split into multiple categories. Overall, I'm pretty sure Pikachu has more percentage because like you have like the Zip Striker, Electrode, Zapdos down here. You have the Raichu engine, and then there's another one down here, just like Pikachu by itself. So they just split on multiples. But overall, I'm pretty sure they're either the exact same count, like for people playing them in tournaments as Mewtwo, or if not, a little bit lower. But it's because a little bit lower doesn't mean it's not the best deck. A lot of people just like Mewtwo. And obviously, speaking of Mewtwo, Mewtwo is the second best deck in the game because him with Gardevoir just enables him to start doing the 150 loops. He also similar to Pikachu EX, he's a basic Pokemon. You don't have to evolve him. All you have to do is evolve Gardevoir. The deck is very consistent. You can run stuff like Jinx, or I know the new tech is people are running a lot of the regular Mewtwo's now. Not a lot, but like one regular Mewtwo, basically to tank an attack and not give up 2 HP. So you can build the Mewtwo EX. So yeah, the strength of Mewtwo EX is just crazy. And the fact that he's a basic and you don't have to evolve him and you can do loops of Gardevoir is just the reason he's the second best deck in the game. And so the third deck, low key, honestly, I'm starting to think Starmie might low key be the second best deck in the game. This is just my personal opinion. I think Starmie is really strong. And similar to Pikachu, I'm gonna put Starmie and Articuno together because I think that's the best version of the deck. You also do have Lapras EX version Starmie, but maybe it's a little bit worse. But or maybe it's even the same. But I guess I'll move actually Articuno just down. But if we're just talking Starmie EX is powerful. It's a Pikachu but water. The only reason I think Starmie is not the second best deck in the game is because it has a hard time with the Pikachu matchup just because of the weakness, the electric. If Pikachu EX didn't exist, I think Starmie would actually just be the best deck in the game. It does the exact same thing Pikachu does, without the need for all the Pokemon in the basic, like all the basic Pokemon in the back, or not basic Pokemon, but all the electric types in the background, back line. And yeah, you have stuff like Golduck you could run, Lapras EX, Articuno EX. Even I've seen some Greninja variants. There's just a lot of stuff you could do. And then speaking of Articuno is mostly played with stuff like Starmie EX, but like it is water, so you can also play with Golduck. Obviously Misty existing is the greatest thing in the game. Actually, speaking of Misty, let me just put Misty in top tier because Misty is just a broken card and is mostly run in water decks. And if you just land a Misty with a water deck, you start one-shotting stuff on the first turn before your opponent can even do stuff and just win the game like that. Yeah, like I was gonna say, Articuno, 18 card Articuno is extremely strong. And then just Articuno itself is strong. Being able to do 80 damage and also 10 damage to the back. That 10 damage actually really adds up over time. And you could win games because of it. Or you get like a sneaky kill or something. You get something low. Use Sabrina, swap something else out. But and then if it's 10 HP, you could just possibly do a lot of damage or even kill the new active Pokemon and then kill the thing in the background to win. So yes, it's very powerful. I think it's one of the best decks in the game. So while talking about I'm gonna group Articuno and Lapras because they mostly played with Starmie. They're just really strong water EX cards that go perfect with Misty. Both only 3 energy, so they're about the same. The only difference is Lapras has the healing capabilities, while Articuno has the damage to the backline. So I think they're very similar, so I'm gonna put them basically in the same spot. So now, so next off, I'm gonna basically start with the 3 evolutions in the game, 3 starter Pokemon, which are Charizard, Venusaur, and Blastoise. I'm gonna start with Charizard because I believe Charizard is probably the best, just because if you set it up, it just one-shots everything. So let me actually grab Charizard. I actually think I'm not sure if Charizard is better. Actually, no, I think Charizard is definitely better. And let me just, I mean, you could put Moltres. I'll just keep Moltres down here because obviously everybody knows you're gonna be running Charizard with Moltres or any fire deck, to be honest. So the thing of Charizard, once you get it set up, it has 200. It does 200 damage. It just literally, there's nothing in the game that could survive it. The tankiest Pokemon, I believe, is Venusaur. I could be mistaken if there's something else that has 190 or even 200 health. Even Venusaur can't outlive Charizard attack. So just Charizard's potential is crazy. The only thing that holds Charizard back, to be honest, is it being 3 evolutions. Sometimes you can't brick and not draw the right cards. Also, sometimes you get really unlucky with Moltres EX and get some bad coin tosses. But if you set up Charizard, there's really nothing. Like, for example, like Charizard versus Mewtwo. Most of the time, Mewtwo's kind of set up the one Mewtwo EX. If you're able to set up the Charizard and then one-shot the one they set up on, they're probably not going to be able to do another 150 blasts, and then you're just going to nuke the other Mewtwo EX or even the Gardevoir, whatever they have. And then stuff like Pikachu. Pikachu is probably its worst matchup just because Moltres being weak to lightning. Pikachu, if they draw the really good hand, they can just nuke Moltres pretty fast. But even like against Starmie, where like Charizard has the water weakness, it could just nuke stuff like before you could kill them. So because Moltres, like I said, is weak to lightning, not water, Moltres could kind of wall for a little bit, and then you could set up Charizard and then just obliterate everything. Although I do think Starmie's pretty good against Charizard. I think it's maybe like 60-40 Starmie favored, if anything. I think Charizard just has a good matchup for everything basically below this. Like below Charizard, I feel like they have really good matchup, and then the top tiers, obviously the top tiers are the top tiers for the reason. I think Charizard has the best against Mewtwo, but then loses to Pikachu and then loses slightly to Starmie, depending on the hands and everything. So next up, we have the deck I'm most qualified to talk about, Venusaur EX. So I think Venusaur EX is under Articuno / Lapras EX. That's like the Starmie variant. Really crazy potential. There's basically 3 main versions of Venusaur. There's Executor EX, which is probably the most popular. There's Lilligant, which is I feel like slowly rising up to be one of the most popular. Just because it's more consistent than Executor EX, where Executor EX obviously you have the flip coin factor. And also Lilligant only being 1. Not an EX doesn't really matter, at least in this deck, as much, because I mean Venusaur is already an EX. If they kill something, and then Lilligant, like if they kill Venusaur and Lilligant, you're still gonna lose. Even if that, like for example, like if you play the Executor and they kill Executor EX and then Venusaur, like you still lose either way. So Lilligant not being an EX doesn't really matter in this deck specifically. Then there's also the variant I actually played recently, the Butterfree one, which is crazy healing potential, obviously, because Butterfree is just a free potion around. That being said, Venusaur has a tough time, like, against basically the decks above it, just because they can do so much damage that you can't out heal it, which is obviously like the main whole purpose of the Venusaur deck. Is you basically just use Erica's potions and then Venusaur's attack, and then you get 30 HP, and then obviously the potions will be up to 80, 120 health back turn. The thing about this is I think Venusaur is really good against deck like Starmie and Pikachu, but I feel like I think Mewtwo's pretty even, to be honest. It all depends on who gets the right cards. But then like stuff like Charizard just obliterates Venusaur, which is why I'm putting Venusaur under Charizard and Starmie EX. Personally, I just feel like those decks have a higher chance of beating it because like it is 3 evolutions at the end of the day. You can draw a pretty bad hand. But yeah, let's get on to the next deck. So for the next deck is my most hated deck in the game, which is Marowak EX. Marowak would literally be the best deck in the game if you were the most lucky player, because 2 energy for 160 damage is crazy potential. Literally one shots everything here besides Venusaur. Yeah, it's just, it would be broken. I mean, you can get lucky and this deck is really great. You can run stuff like Sand Slash. Um, you can run Primeape in it because obviously fighting types. I know there's a Doug Trio variant, which is like basically the full RNG variant. Like, let's just go all in on the coin tosses. I have not tried that personally because I'm already done it. I'm done with coin tosses unless it's stuff like Executor or like Jolteon. But yeah, and then basically yeah, like Marowak has the potential to be the greatest card in the game. Also, the one benefit of Marowak is that it's good against lightning types because obviously almost all lightning types are weak to fighting. But anyways, similar to Marowak, I'll put it next to it, Primeape. Actually, I'll get back to Primeape. So I'm gonna just put Primeape down below. Then for me, I think the Team Rocket deck is really good. Team Rocket being Arbok and Weezing. I think this deck is actually really good. It's probably the best control deck in the game. I mean, Weezing is just a strong engine. Like, speaking of Weezing, let me find the Koga card. It is one of the best tech options. You could almost run Weezing in almost any deck, and it's going to be useful. Like, I know there's the Venusaur Weezing deck, there's a Dragon Knight Weezing deck. I mean, I've played Weezing in so many decks myself, and it's actually so strong. So yeah, I just think it's personally fine. Also, like, kind of like after like Marowak, I'm not really too sure what the order is of decks. I'm just gonna put stuff I know that is really good, and the order doesn't really matter. I like the order for the top 5. I think, bro, is Pikachu EX being 1, Mewtwo 2nd, Starmie 3rd, Charizard 4th, and then either Articuno slash Lapras slash Water, which I mean would mainly be in Starmie anyways. So these would technically be 3, but if you're not running Starmie, they're like 4th place, and then Venusaur 5th. And then yeah, then I have stuff like Marowak and then Arbok slash Team Rocket, Arbok Weezing, which are really great decks, which is why they're so high tier. They're some of the best decks in the game. They're just not at the level of these top tiers, like they're more like reliant. Like I feel like you could lose more often with these decks than like these ones, but they're still really strong. I don't know. I don't know how to explain that. I don't know. It's weird. And then Blaine, which is like Magmar, Ninetales, stuff like that. Extremely strong deck. Like if we actually go on this, we can see Blaine is actually number 7 most used. Like 200 people have been playing these in tournaments. And if we just click on something, see a deck. I wonder if it's gonna show. I guess it doesn't really show what they're using. But anyways, like I mean, we go right here, we can just see stuff. Yeah, like Ponyta and Ninetales. I know some people do play in Magmar, but this deck can just do a lot of damage. Obviously, Magmar can do 100 with Blaine. Um, Ninetales is 90 damage already, so that's 140, which could, I mean, you could one shot Pikachu. Just crazy damage potential. This deck is really hyper aggressive once you get it set up. And yeah, like I said, you can just straight nuke stuff for stuff that are not evolution 3s. They do a lot of damage. And then along with Blaine, actually on the come up is Arcanine. feel like it's very similar. Basically, Arcanine just doesn't need Blaine. It just does the damage, but also damage itself. Another hyper aggressive fiery deck. The only difference is it is an EX, where like Blaine, none of the stuff is EX, so you have like that extra life. If Moltres doesn't get knocked out, where like Arcanine is just one Moltres and an Arcanine knocked out, and then you lose. But Arcanine can just do so much damage for an evolution 2 that I feel like it's basically in the same realm of like Blaine. It's just like a different fire deck that does a lot of damage. Is has a small differences, but at the end of the day, it's gonna be doing the same thing. So next up is Blastoise. I think Blastoise is straight slept on. A lot of people are not like, I've seen a lot of Venusaur, I've seen a lot of Charizard. I've seen like a lot of all these other decks in here, but besides like maybe Arcanine. I've seen Arcanine in tournaments. I haven't played against like a lot of Arcanines myself. I played against Blaines. I've seen what Arcanine can do. But Blastoise, dude, Blastoise is straight slept on. Every time I played against a Blastoise deck, especially as a Venusaur player, Blastoise is one of the best decks against us. Because like Venusaur could literally beat all these decks besides like Charizard and Blastoise. Like if Blastoise gets set up, doesn't matter because like he's just gonna two-shot you. Like he's one of the only Pokemon that you cannot kill. Like you can't kill him and then I'll heal him at the same time. He's gonna do 170 damage or like 180. I forget how the exact amount, but he's just gonna nuke you, dude. It's actually crazy. I feel like this. I mean, obviously, you need 5 energy on him to really be doing the 170 damage. It is 170, yeah. But at the same time, you have Misty, dude. Yeah, Misty. You think about a Venusaur's 4 energy. It's only 1 extra energy than Venusaur, and you're doing basically almost twice as amount of damage. Crazy deck. My homie's actually been playing this, and it's been really annoying me. I cannot beat this with Venusaur. And then speaking of stuff that is really good, actually counters Blastoise. Alakazam. This deck is crazy. Like this deck punishes evolution decks like stuff with the higher energy count, like up to like 3, but especially decks that play 4, like Charizard, Blastoise, and Venusaur. Alakazam just straight melts. Like I'm surprised not a lot of more people are playing this deck. I guess because the top 2 decks are Starmie, like top 3 decks are Starmie and Pikachu, where they only gonna have like 2 energy at most, unless they're for some reason just stacking energy for randomly. And then obviously there's Mewtwo EX, which can have 4, but usually by the time it's your turn, they're only gonna have 2 because they just, nuked you for 150 damage, so they discarded 2. But I think Alakazam is like low key slept on. This deck, like this card is crazy broken. And I think depending on the next set, like depending on what the meta cards are, like if there's a lot of like broken cards that are high energy, Alakazam stocks are just gonna rise, and it might be one of the best decks in the game, or like anti-meta decks. I don't know. Actually, one more high tier deck I think we have is basically just the Raichu variant of Pikachu of Lieutenant Surge, like Magneton or Raichu. It's not as consistent as Pikachu. It has a surprise factor of being able to nuke you with Raichu. I think it's really good actually. It could actually be like above Alakazam. It could be above Blastoise. It could be above Blaine. Like could be anywhere above her. Maybe even like above Team Rocket Bird just because it's Pikachu EX. It probably is actually like around here. But like it's crazy potential. I don't know why I said potential. I mean it's just Pikachu EX with also a bigger nuke in the back. It's just really good, but sometimes it can be bricky because it's an evolution. Actually, not really, because it's only an evolution too, because Pichu's not a thing. It's just not as good as like I feel like the standard Pikachu EX decks. I don't know. Because you have to actually run Lieutenant Surge, and that's like an extra 2 cards you have to play in your deck. So, or like maybe you only play one of them, but you actually have to draw it also. So, it's not as consistent as just base Pikachu. So, one last card I'm gonna put on high tier is actually Executor EX. This card is really strong. I'm gonna do 80 damage. Like if you go first with Executor EX and you have it in your hand and like an execute out, you can just start doing 80 damage on the 3rd turn, dude. That's just crazy potential. Really good. You don't have to run him with Venusaur. You could also run him with I've been messing around with a Vileplume version, and I know there's like a Butterfree Executor version also, but I haven't tested it out myself. But Executor EX is just really strong. And low key Gengar. I don't know if Gengar would be high tier or Rogue. I feel like for now Gengar is Rogue. Like I know like he is really good. I feel like he could just take too long to get out sometimes, and then Like when he is out, he's really good. But like I feel like I don't know Gengar decks. Like I don't know. I've seen like a lot of versions. I feel like people haven't found like the perfect version of the Gengar deck yet. I think once people like figure out the best version of the Gengar deck, or if like new cards come out and like helps it, I think Gengar is gonna rise the high tier. I feel like right now it's Rogue. Very good card. It's just kind of like iffy. I feel like it doesn't have like the best deck list like discovered yet. Along with Rogue, like I want to put Dragonite in high tier, but like I don't know, dude. I think Dragonite pretty is Rogue. I think Dragonite lacks like the consistency of like these high tier decks based on the fact that it's dual energy. Like I personally probably play Dragonite like the second most of any deck I have. Like I play Venusaur and like Dragonite the most. And Dragonite players could probably contest like confirm this. Sometimes you just get like 7 water energies in a row, man. Or you just don't draw the evolutions. You can play Gengar stuff like not Gengar, but you can play Dragonite stuff like Kangaskhan. This is the Meowth version. I messed around with like a EV version with Vaporeon, Lapras EX, and Jolteon. It was pretty cool, but I think Dragonite really is Rogue. I think Dragonite is one of the most powerful cards, honestly, in the game. It just lacks the consistency of like all these cards, like all these decks above. Like I think Dragonite is probably like I don't know, like Dragonite could just win you games, like straight nuke you games. But at the end of the, like it's really orange. It's heavily orangey. It's kind of hard like to get Dragonite set up sometimes just because, like I said, dual energy. Sometimes you really just get unlucky and you get like 5 lightning or 7 water energies in a row, and then you just lose. But when you do get Dragonite set up, he feels like a high tier deck. It's just I feel like sometimes it's kind of hard to set him up. Um, I don't even know like what I don't even think I think this is just not it. I've never seen someone play this deck, so I'm gonna just put not sure. I think Kabutops is pretty rogue also. Like could even be high tier. I've seen a lot of people playing him with Primate. I'm just put him in a rogue, or maybe he's like a good tech option. I've seen some people just put him in like fighting decks, so he's probably a good tech option, honestly. Moltres is the best support card in the game. Literally makes any fire deck usable. He's the reason Charizard, Blaine, and Arcanine are even up here. Like he would literally be high tier. Like if I didn't have the tech option thing, he's just I mean every fire deck like runs him. I think Melmetal is rogue. I mean he can do a lot of damage, but it's just like not like there's just things that just do more damage and are easier to set up than it. So it's like it's cool. I think Machamp's in like the same thing. I think Machamp's cool. It's just it doesn't do anything. It does a lot of damage, but like what else is it gonna do? Like it's not gonna. It's like also it's 3 evolutions, so it's hard to get out sometimes. But like you do stuff. Primeape, I'm really not sure about Primeape. I know a lot of people are saying Primeape's one of the best decks in the game. I don't know if this says anything about Primeape actually. It doesn't. Um, I don't know. Like personally, I tried Primeape out, bro. Like when the event came out with the new Mankey, and I can't get that deck to work. Like no matter what I try, I feel like the deck. Maybe I gotta. And, you know, I finally got my second Kabutops. I know Kabutops is a pretty good card. People run off the deck. Maybe if I try that variant, I'll actually have some success. But I've tried Primeape with Marowak. I tried Primeape with like Sand Slash. I just could not get the like. I could not get the card to work. I just feel like it wasn't that good personally. But I know a lot of people have like really good stuff to say about it. Like I know a lot of people say it's like it could be meta defying. Like it could be one of the best decks because you could easily do 100 on the second turn. It's just or like the fourth turn or something. But I just can't get it to work for me. I don't know. So I'm really not sure. Wigglytuff is probably the best sleeper in the game, being a second evolution. 80 damage is basically just an easy. It's just a better Vileplume. It's a more basic Vileplume. The only benefit Vileplume has is being grass. So you could use Erica on it. And then like Nidoqueen, Nidoking. I know these decks do a lot of damage, but it requires so much setup. Like low key, I think honestly it's just not it. Like maybe it's rogue. I don't know. Most of these decks are like pretty good, so I don't even know like what I have this like for fun decks for because on this or like I said, I do have what is it's like Mendocino or it's like Mencino. I forget how exactly what the card's called. I don't know why this is even in this list. I don't even think it's I looked at it like I didn't even know what it did until I looked at it like 5 minutes before I started recording. This is just not a good card. Like it's just not it. Um it's just like a worse Pikachu, but it only has 90 HP, so it's gonna get like a one shot by everything. Um, Also, Omastar, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure like where he goes. I mean, I've seen like one person use him, like one deck profile, but I feel like he's really strong. I just don't see people using him, so I'm not sure. And then, like I said, I don't know if I finished my sentence, but like Nido Queen, Nido King, all these decks can just do it faster. Like the same amount of damage you could do, they just do it faster or better. Brock, I actually think Brock, like, I don't know. I think Brock is just for fun, man. I don't think it's the best deck. Like Golem's not good. Onyx is alright if you have to use Brock. Like if you really want to use Brock card, you'd probably be using Onyx. But actually, hold up. I gotta look. I don't have my glasses on. I don't even know what card this is. Hold up. Okay, so that's Gyarados. I literally cannot see that, dude. The way the card is. I don't know. I'm not sure about Gyarados. I've seen videos. I just haven't watched them. I know his effect can be strong. It can be really annoying, but I think Gyarados relies too heavily on Misty. Because like when you're gonna get four energy, like by the time you get four energy on him, bro, your opponent's probably gonna have energy to spare. So it's gonna be like a cycle of you removing one, but then they just put one back on their turn. So it's like high tier, I guess if you land four mist, like if you ran really good Misty, but like low key just for fun, bro. If you don't land a good Misty, yeah, that's basically my thoughts on like the decks in the game. I know I'm like kind of like scatterbrained, and I don't know if I explain my opinions the best when I do like these tier list videos because I don't write stuff down. I just do it off the top of my head. Excuse me, I have like salsa stuck in my throat, dude, so it's been burning. But yeah, like I said, maybe I should write a script next time. But these are just like my like off the top of my head like thoughts of the game. Like I said, like I think the best decks right now are Pikachu, Mewtwo, Starmie. Everybody thinks that Charizard, and then I think these are like the top six, and then Marowak's like top seven, and then anything from like eight, nine, like anything from like eight down could kind of like be changed. Executor Loki might be Rogue. What about Venusaur? Yeah, I'm gonna just put it. Actually, I'm gonna put Executor in Rogue. That's the one change I'll do. And then yeah, I think this is a pretty good list. And then like I mean, if we look at these results, if I can go back, yeah, it's pretty similar. We have Starmie up here. We have Mewtwo. We have stuff Venusaur, Marowak. Alakazam is in the top 10. 18 card Articuno. Then we have like some Greninjas. I don't know if I'm yeah, and then Greninja is like a good tech option. Like all these cards are just good tech. Like Weezing his Beast Splash in any engine, Moltres at every fire deck. Kabutops, it's kind of like a attack in some fighting decks, I think. But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed my thoughts on this game. Like for the decks, like the top decks in this game. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great day and thank you for watching if you made it this far.